Hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today I'm back with weekly update number 60. Let's jump right into it, and we'll kick off with week in review. This is where we talk about what's been going on, things that are upcoming, things like that. And I guess I'll start off this week by saying that I finally feel like I'm like coming up for air per se. I've been so buried, and it's not that I'm not still extremely busy, and my to-do list is still a mile long. But what's changed is I feel like I'm starting to like work on that to-do list and actually eliminate things that have been on that list for a long time. And I think that's in large part, and not just because they're sitting in the room right now, but large part because of Santana and Patrick and them kind of taking some stuff off my plate. And it's I think it's working, and it feels good to start chipping away a little bit. I still wish I was like completely on top of my to-do list, because that's like my how I operate internally. But we're we're getting there, and that's kind of cool. And so with that, I've got a few different things that I'm chipping away at, and I'll kind of talk about some of those, I think, because you might be interested. The first is our P-Mecha line of like premium, like limited edition kind of products and things like that. I think one of the big ones people had asked about was some sort of beanie, some sort of hat or whatever. I got a sample in yesterday. Didn't really like how it came out, and there was some embroidery issues with the manufacturer. So I'll be going back to them and trying to resolve the embroidery issues with them, and maybe trying to find an alternative. I actually had a hoodie come in as well. That one also had a print issue, but less of one, and so we'll hopefully be offering pre-orders for those items in the near future once I get those issues kind of worked out and resolved. So that's the first one. We also been made over the last couple weeks huge improvements in how we organize our decals internally, which is really important because we just got in probably our largest decal shipment ever, if not our largest, then one of our top two or three. And I'll be talking about that during the restock section. But tons of decals, and trying to organize those. We had a really clunky system using envelopes. Now we've got folders in better organized boxes, which should make picking and checking in, definitely I think was better. Should make picking orders with decals a lot easier going forward. We'll find out, I guess, later today, the day that you're watching this, if you're watching it when it came out, as we ship decals, as people place orders for the restock. The other thing that I made progress on is found a way to start implementing order limits or quantity limits on certain products. We've kind of maintained like an anti-scalper policy, where when somebody places an order for a massive number of a given kit, especially if that kit doesn't make sense to buy a ton of, like the 9 Dynames or whatever that individual ordered way back when. By the way, that person tried ordering recently again at another under a new name, a different address that was on the other side of the intersection or something where they placed the order from last time. Long story, but we caught it. But we can now implement order limits on certain products, and we'll probably start doing that at least as a trial for things that maybe we only got a few in. So we'll make it so you can only buy one or two instead of being able to place a large order. And we're going to kind of see how that goes, and see if we want to implement that more broadly or just on certain things. But that will be coming. Two other things to talk about for week in review is, Christmas is approaching. It's just over a week away. So you West Coast people, probably, if you placed an order today, you might get it by Christmas. Maybe not, depending on how early in the day you place it, and just luck of the draw with shipping, because it's usually about 5 days, I think, to get out there. East Coast people, if you're still waiting on stuff for Christmas, might be your chance to get in before it's too late, because we don't offer next day air shipping or anything like that as of yet. Although if you really need it, feel free to contact us. We can see what we can do. And then finally, the charity stream. I talked about this last week. Things are narrowing down. It's going to be on the 26th of December, day after Christmas. We're going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern and go till hopefully 9 p.m. Eastern, although I've resigned myself to continuing until I'm done with whatever build it is that we're doing, as long as we're in a realistic time frame there. I don't want to be up all night, but since it's a 12-hour stream, if it goes 13 or 14 hours, I don't mind. What I'm building, though, will probably depend on you, and I'll talk about this in more detail next week during the weekly update. But what I intend to do is allow people leading up to the stream and like the very first 5 minutes of the stream maybe decide what it is that we're going to build. And they're going to have three choices, and we're going to probably let donations and what people donate to the charity decide. So whichever build gets the most mentions in the charity entry window or whatever, the highest dollar value will get to be the one that we do. And the three choices I've got as of right now, I'm thinking about doing either a trio of kits, an RG Tall Geese 2, and two HG Space Leos to go with it. I've been wanting to do a diorama with those three, like some sort of space scene, kind of like from the end of the series or whatever. I also have a MG Double Zeta, ZZ Gundam Ver Ka. That would be another interesting build, and an RG High New. So those are my three choices right now. I might add another choice to the options to be decided on between now and then. But I think we'll let the viewers decide, like I said, via some sort of donation mechanism for that charity. We'll be raising money for Shriners Hospitals for Children, Boston, and hopefully we'll raise 10K this year. There's the same goal as last year. We fell a little bit short last year. Hopefully we'll make it this year. And people have been joking about me doing a TikTok dance or something. So, maybe if we hit the goal, I'll do a TikTok dance or something. And that'll be hilarious because I can't dance. Or can I? No, I probably can't. Okay. Anyway, I guess that's it for Week in Review. No pre-orders this week, so let's move on to restocks. And restocks are interesting this week because we literally only have one kit restocking, but a ton of decals, and we should have some God Hand tools as well. The God Hand tools haven't been checked in yet. They're behind me on the dock, so to speak. The one kit we got in was the entry grade RX-78 full weapon set. So this is basically the same as the entry grade RX-78, but it's got beam sabers, this javelin thing, the bazooka, and I think it was called the hammer. It was basically like a flail. So cool stuff. A couple of those weapons are ones that you don't even see in most of the high grade kits. And the entry grade was a great kit. So, might be a good pickup, especially for someone who's into Gundam, but maybe hasn't built much before. So that's it for kits. We do have Delpi decal. In case you're not aware, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more at length than I usually do. We get from them, these aren't actually Delpi decal parts, but they manufacture Gundam, Moxing, I don't know, with HD model. They make various parts like these spikes that you could use on a Zaku's shoulder, and some metal verniers. So basically the little rocket booster things that you might use to replace the plastic ones, mono eye parts like this one. Hopefully that shows up okay in the light. There you go. Things like that. We get a lot of that kind of stuff via Delpi right now. So a lot of parts, and then we also get a lot of decals. We had, I don't remember the exact number, but I want to say there were upwards of 200 items on that order, maybe closer to 300. A lot of decals, including the RG High New. So if you picked up one of those and you're looking for decals for it, this might be a good chance for that. I'm not going to show you all the decals because I'd be here flipping through decals for the next 30 minutes, probably. But Delpi Decal definitely makes some of the best water slide decals I've ever used. They've got tons of options, and if you like water slide decals, they're definitely worth looking into. And we've got a bunch of those options. So I guess that's it for restocks this week. So let's move on to Q&A. This is the part where we answer questions from the viewers. If you have a question that you would like answered yourself, post it down in the comments below. It could be a question about Mecha Warehouse, about Gunpla, about myself, about business, about just about anything. I'll try to answer it, and let's get into it. So the first one is from Artie DiEnd, question, is there a kit that you're intimidated to build? It's a great question. I feel like most builders have at least one kit on their backlog that they're intimidated to build. I don't know that I am necessarily intimidated by the build of any of them. There's a whole bunch of kits on my backlog that I don't want to build yet, primarily because I want to have certain skills figured out before I start them, because I think it might impact how I build them. So for example, I haven't painted a master grade yet. I would really like to paint a master grade in the future. I feel like I need to paint a few more high grades before I'll feel ready to do that, because I just want the process figured out before I do it on a larger, more expensive kit. And so I'm waiting until I've got those notches in my belt. That might kind of come off as being intimidated in the sense that I don't want to start them yet, but it does not necessarily, like, it's not that I don't think I can build the kit or I'll screw the kit up. It's that I want to figure out, do I want to cut pegs on that kit so I can make it easier to pull it apart? Is there something else I want to do in terms of seam line removal and mold removal and sanding on it to make it look its best when I paint it that maybe I haven't figured out yet? Things like that. That's an excellent question, and that's a good one for everyone else watching. Maybe you can post, or is there a build or a kit in your backlog that you're intimidated to build? I'd be really interested to hear about it. The other question I got was from Noise Tank 15, and he said, with the new G-Gundam King of Hearts in, thoughts on an HG Windmill Gundam? So this is another good question, I think. So number one, I've never seen G-Gundam. I need to fix that, and I probably will in the future, hopefully sooner rather than later. We'll see if I can make that happen. So I looked up the Windmill Gundam before the stream, or before the video rather, to make sure I knew what I was talking about here. And I think it'd be a really interesting kit. Apparently there was an action figure made at some point of the Windmill Gundam. It really surprised me to see that in the image search. I think that would be an interesting kit. I have this weird feeling that they won't make it because it seems like an obscure design that everybody wants, but nobody wants at the same time. And maybe I'm interpreting that weird. I don't think it would be as interesting to anybody who hasn't seen that series as it is to somebody who has. It's not like a cool, sleek, awesome, well-armed design or whatever. It's kind of clunky looking, kind of interesting and different. And I feel like if you're a fan of the series, you probably wouldn't mind one, especially considering how many people ask about it. That, and I think Tequila Gundam, I think, is the other one everybody wants. But if you're not into it, I don't know that you would be into it, kind of thing. So I can see why they probably wouldn't make a kit of it. But a really interesting question. I guess that's another good question for everybody watching too. Do you want HG Windmill Gundam? So should we petition Bandai for that? So that is, I believe, all we have for questions this week. So if you got your own question, post it down in the comments below, and hopefully I'll answer it next week. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.